Guys, we start the top stories off today from a quote from Ronald Reagan. If we lose freedom here, there is no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. And he is, of course, referring to the United States because the United States is a constitutional republic with democratically elected officials. We have, of course, the Bill of Rights and our individual liberties and freedoms, which in some countries is a problem because if you allow the people to have freedom and exercise those freedoms, like the Second Amendment, for example, well, this allows individuals to exercise these liberties, and the government could be concerned about the fact that people using freedom may not exactly fall in line with what government is. And, of course, the Constitution is designed to protect us from government. Prince Harry laments rolling back of the constitutional rights in the United States during UN speech. Now, of course, we already know that this is just a very clever language play here by the National Review. And we're going to go ahead and just read a little bit of it. And then, of course, as we do here on the BuzWeaver channel, we take the difficult, we take the complicated, we take the chaos, we take the confusion, and we make it very simple and how it should have been written. Prince Harry on Monday spoke out against a global assault on democracy and freedom, including an alleged rolling back of constitutional rights in the United States during a keynote address to the United Nations General Assembly in New York. Now, let me make this very simple for you. So recently here in the United States, the Supreme Court ruled on Roe v. Wade and turned it back over to the states, as well as allowed for states that were making it very difficult for Second Amendment permit carry, or I should say for permit carry in certain states. It was very difficult to get a concealed carry permit to exercise your Second Amendment right. So these have been big blows to, I guess you could say, the establishment, the deep state, and globalist or globalism. And we start to see more of the cracks appear on what they're saying here because we see from French President Emmanuel Macron responded to the ruling and saying, abortion is a fundamental right for all women. It must be protected. I wish to express my solidarity with the women whose liberties are being undermined by the Supreme Court of the United States. However, the limit for abortion in France is 16 weeks. So, in other words, of course, these individuals can come out, and we see something here from Boris Johnson, but it's really not all that relevant. Now, they can have all the opinions they want when it comes to the United States. However, our Constitution is here to protect us from government intrusion, and that is critical and important because we're going to talk about this on the Friday vlog, how this is a play by, well, at this time right now in the United States, the Democrats are very much all about power and control. And we already know this, for example, through censorship. But now with this most recent ruling, of course, from the Supreme Court, they feel like they have less control because, of course, now they're turning it back over to the states, which is always interesting because we've always argued that when President Trump wanted to send out the National Guard to states when there was riots and disruptions in cities and burning of buildings and lives being threatened by these rioting, of course, the states were saying, oh, no, the federal government, no, they can't get involved. We need separation here. Well, our separations of power. But, of course, now when the Constitution or when the Supreme Court turns over Roe v. Wade to the states to decide, now all of a sudden we have people like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and others out there who want to suggest that the federal government needs to step back in. So it's really kind of interesting. So not only is the Democrat wanting more control, they are also authoritarian. And I saw this from Eddie Zipper here. And it's interesting because a friend of mine actually shared this from me, a guildmate friend of mine in my gaming shared this yesterday. If you owe everything you have in life to the title of nobility that was bestowed on you at birth, you should feel free not to lecture anyone about democracy and freedom. And it's kind of interesting seeing some of the tweets here. Word, his nobility is not his fault, I think. His behavior is. AOC and Ilhan Omar's handcuffs were as real as pregnant men. And if you guys haven't already, on my main page, I posted the video of a kind of an interesting scene there with AOC, who people say she pretended to have handcuffs on, but she had her hands behind her back, and the police officer, they were formally arrested, but it was just a really more of a procedural thing where, they'll get arrested or moved or temporarily detained, and then, of course, they're then released under their own recognizance and so forth. So this was just kind of an opportunity, as it were, for foreign countries, or for Harry, for example, to just kind of take a stab or a dig at the Constitution or America or our constitutional freedoms. But really it was more to garner support, perhaps, because his wife, as you know, is very left-leaning, one of those progressive types. So, of course, he's trying to gain points for her, trying to gain points in just the realm, in the global system. And this is why I'm not a big fan of the EU and many of the ideologies and philosophies of Europe, because it is all about the collective, right? Not a focus on individuality or independent liberty or individual liberties and so forth. But I found this very interesting that this was didn't really make the mainstream media, as a friend shared this with me, but I thought it was very interesting to share with you guys, because these are the things that we talk about here on the channel, and that is that the erosion of our liberties and freedoms under our Constitution, or just the ability of the Democrats to constantly pursue their power to limit what people can do. Even as you saw with President Trump, they continue to go after President Trump. They're continuing to make sure that he can't get elected. That's the whole purpose of the January 6th commission. And, of course, with Marjorie Taylor Greene, what they did here in Georgia to prevent her from being able to run as well. So these people talk about threats to democracy while they try to deny people's right in the United States to exercise their democracy or to participate in democracy. So it's a very interesting place. So I know you guys pay attention. I know you guys are very astute, so you guys are paying attention to all this, but I just wanted to bring it to your guys' attention. That's what I had, of course, for you guys today. I want to thank all of you here on YouTube for your guys' continued support. Those of you on New Tech as well for your guys' support. And appearing there on the screen, that would be the channel icon. For those of you watching here on YouTube, you guys can click on that to subscribe, as well as to click notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I want to thank all of you guys continually for your support. And I will see you in the next video.